If you don't want to spend a fortune for a set of pedals, but at the same time you need something sturdy, which feels good and precise, I have something very interesting for you, which with little effort can be yours for $275, which makes it one of the most affordable entry-level high-end pedals. Those are the S120 load cell spring-based with some really interesting engineering on the brake pedal, which makes the linear compression of the spring feels progressive just as an elastomer-based pedals. And that is really good concept for sim racing use. The load cell on the brake is 150 kg with faceplate pressure up to 120, which must be enough for most cases. Materials used are mainly brushed stainless steel, some nylon washers, and the springs, of course. For adjustment, there are 2 points for the angle of the pedals and 4 points on the faceplate. Also, 2 points for the hard stage on each pedal and 9 different curve points which will hit the second hard stage with different pressure and travel. The travel itself can be from 23 mm and 100 kg pressure on 0.83 to 44 mm travel and 46 kg on C1 and anything in between. I have to admit, this is really cool engineering, and in terms of feeling, I am really amazed how a linear spring feels so progressive in compression. There is a specific graph which explain all the different points and curves in which you can get brief idea what to expect in terms of progressiveness and feeling, and Najam claims in the website we can change that in a minute. As I have done that already several times and I know exactly what I am doing. Indeed, it takes a minute to unscrew a few nuts, change the piston and set the required length of the tie rod with the specific gap for the new settings, but when you first try it, it can take some time as it's not toolless adjustment. However, those settings change radically the feeling of the pedal and totally worth the little extra effort. Once again, I am really impressed of the progressiveness on each settings, considering this is with linear spring. I am sure everyone will find its personal like. In my opinion, in that price, this pedal is quite an achievement. The throttle, however, is more on the basic side with 2 points for angle adjustment and 2 for the spring position, which will make it softer or stiffer. There is also travel adjustment from 32 to 65 mm. It is not some crazy design and I will call it more on the basic side, but will get the job done. It is also load cell based and both pedals are connected on this small 15-bit control board which measure up to 32K points, which is overkill anyway. The cables of the load cell are not protected and must be attached and tied with small screw, and as you can see here is a lot like a DIY project to bring that low cost. Anyway, let's not forget that the ultimate goal of those pedals is the low cost for performance, and that being said, here are the results of my first ever drive.
Sector 2 time is good.
I test for months now different gear on Sebring, which is a track I don't like at all, but it's really good to put any gear on the edge. Before I set those on my rig, I was testing another really good set of pedals, which I will show you soon, and my times were around 1:58.1, which is quite competitive time in the top 20 with that specific car. In my first go, I slid the car a few times and overhit the tires, so I decided to restart, and that happened.
158.5.
Coming from much nicer and of course way more expensive pedals, I have to admit those here felt instantly familiar. In the stock brake settings in position B2, the brake felt very intuitive with that progressive feeling and I felt connected. Trail braking was very easy and I was able to rotate the car very well in the way in. As you can see on the video, there is good amount of pedal travel, which is something I personally prefer, and maybe it was just click harder for me as I felt it put my body in that stiff under pressure mode, which I don't like at all. The reason I use more on the soft side settings on brake pedal is because I like to have a relaxed body and feel a bit more of the force feedback. It is very hard to apply huge forces on the pedal and at the same time have light hands to feel what is going on with the car. Hard brakes really tight my body and I can't take the maximum of my personal performance. Anyway, the throttle was on the hardest settings, but not way stiffer than I'm personally used to, and the exits of the apexes were really under control and felt absolutely okay for first time driving. Just click stiffer, but not discomfortable. The lap were going quite good seeing the splits, and as I've said on some places, I felt a bit more tension on my body and make some very small mistakes, but in overall, I felt very comfortable. At the end, the lap was surprising as it stops the clock just below 1:58, which is actually not bad time at all.
That lap time was 1:58.0. Sector 3 time is fast.
The main point of that experiment anyway was to see how comfortable will I feel driving for very first time those affordable pedals, and it turns out I didn't need any time for adaptation and was instantly on my pace coming from another much nicer set which I will show you soon. So, final thoughts. As I've said before, you can have those for 275 if you put some effort, and that is, you have to assemble the kit yourself. Najam Sim Racing have really good video explaining everything one step at a time, and I'm confident everyone can do it if invest few hours. You can get those ready if you want, but it will cost you extra 70 euro, and 345 final price will be closer to other bit more polished pedals. I know many people don't want to spend a fortune, and in my opinion this is great opportunity, but there is no free lunch. You really have to invest few hours, but at the end you will have competitive pedals on your rig. Performance wise they are great, the brake is really good with all those crazy settings, and of course some corners are cut like the swappy 3D print case and those weak cables on the load cell, but the rest is very good for the asking price. So 345 for ready build is getting closer to other way more polished pedals on the market with nice software and features, and if you want something plug and play, do further research as there are many options under 400 euro mark. However, self-assembly for 275 is actually really good deal, and I can definitely suggest the S120 as very good value for the money. If you want to save, put the effort and you will be happy.